Bop It. What Hasbro doesn't want you to know.
Wait, check. Quasi, are you here? Quasi.
I do warn you that this presentation will go into substantial depth on the topic of Bop It. If you are not ready to learn some things that you will not be able to unlearn, this is your warning. Bill, on the heels of Quasi's presentation, redeeming another PowerPoint? Incredible. The timing. Bill. If you would like to choose a topic, Bill, you can tell me now publicly, or you can tell me later privately. It's up to you.
Kappa says, as someone who's maxed Bop It Extreme, my mind is ready to withstand.
Okay, good. I was hoping there would be some Bop It enthusiasts in here to fact check me and such, because I've done a lot of research over the past month, but I didn't grow up with a Bop It. I never played with one as a child. So please, if you see something in here that you think is not factually correct, let me know. I would love to hear that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about Bop It. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to ask them in chat. Maybe we can get some discussion going, but I will be holding off answering them until the end of the presentation, just in case they kind of get answered naturally through the course of, as things go on. So I will be answering questions at the end, but feel free to drop questions throughout. That is perfectly okay.
All right.
Okay. Here we go. All right, so this presentation is divided into 3 sections. Number 1, Bop It. I'm going to give a brief history of Bop It, a little bit of background for anyone who doesn't know what Bop It is, and kind of how it came to be the way it is. In section 2, Pull It, we're going to take some of the things that we learned in the first section and kind of extrapolate from there and kind of build outwards and try to kind of use that to imagine what a modern Bop It might look like if there were one made today. And then 3, Horrors from an Alternate Timeline. That will make more sense when we get to it. So don't worry about that too much.
I've seen none of this, by the way. I have not seen any Bop It presentation content.
But it all makes sense so far, right? This is all what you would expect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Hey, Duel.
Duel.
Oh, Duel, I was sorry to hear about everything going on in your tweet. That sucks. So, I don't know, my heart goes out to you. Anyway, welcome to PowerPoint time. Okay, Bop It, a brief history. So, I'm going to start by talking about the Bop It original series, which was created starting in 1996 and lasted up until 2005. So this is the first Bop It. This was the first Bop It that was invented. It was created in 1996. And for anyone who doesn't know what Bop It is, it's an electronic toy. The idea is that you hold it in one hand. You can see kind of towards the bottom there's like a gripping area. And then the toy will give you commands. So there's 3 different commands it can give you. It can either say Bop It, and when it says that, you have to push the button, or it can say Pull It, and then you have to pull that blue lever on the bottom, or it can say Twist It, and then you have to twist the yellow twisty thing on the top. And there's some variations on this too, like sometimes it'll give you those commands as colors or as sound effects, but the basic idea is very simple. It gives you a command, and you have to do the appropriate verb. And that sounds very simple, but of course it gets faster and faster as the game goes on, and you kind of get into this state where you're waiting and anticipating, and you're not sure which command it's going to give, and then it gives one command, but you're already going to do a different one, and you have to correct yourself or else you'll make a mistake. So it can get pretty tricky.
Kappa says, you know how Stanley's job was to be told which keys to press and then press them? It's like that, the Bop It parable.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically just follow the commands. There's 3 commands. You have to do it quickly. It's a test of reflexes, a test of mental and physical agility.
Kaminis points out sometimes there's a funky drum beat in the waiting period.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, and I don't think I've ever played physically with a Bop It.
I played a Bop It.
I think my friends had one maybe, but I don't think I ever
I cannot imagine your parents buying a Bop It.
No, never.
Like, it's unfathomable.
They would never. They would never buy me a Bop It. I don't think I've ever bopped it. So I'm like, maybe not the best person equipped to give this presentation, but I'm gonna do my best.
Duel asks, what does the platonic ideal mean?
The platonic ideal. So, the philosopher Plato had this kind of philosophy that there was this parallel universe where everything was perfect, and it was kind of Plato's world of forms. Like, there was in this world the perfect chair, and all chairs in like the real universe were like derived from this perfect chair. They were like imperfect copies of like the perfect form. And so for Bop It, this first version really is the platonic ideal of Bop It. It's the perfect form of Bop It from which all further forms of Bop It are derived.
All right.
Yeah. So 3 verbs, very simple. Surprisingly tricky though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they followed this up in 1998, which was what, 2 years later? Yeah, 2 years later, with the Bop It Extreme. And you can see this design is certainly more extreme than the original Bop It.
Spin it, flick it.
Yeah, it's got 2 new verbs, so there's now 5 verbs in total. Flick it and spin it were added. There's like a little red wheel that you can spin and a green wiggly thing that you can flip. And the other important thing to note about this design, which varies from the first version of Bop It, is that this is a 2-handed version. So instead of just holding it with one hand and doing all the verbs with the other, you actually hold this one in 2 hands, and then you let go and do a verb with either the left or the right hand, depending on which one it is, right?
Hey, Harel, we're doing a PowerPoint presentation on Bop It, as requested by Quasi.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is the classic Bop It. Well, this is the 1998 version. It's extreme, as in the title. So definitely more extreme, more verbs, 2-handed design, a major step forward for Bop It and Bop It innovation.
Yura says this is the Bop It I remember as a kid.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. But it gets more extreme, if you can believe that. Because, 4 years later, in 2002, there was the Bop It Extreme 2. And this looks pretty similar. It's got the same list of verbs. Bop it, pull it, twist it, flick it, spin it. The design is a little bit updated, but the thing to really note is the reverse chirality.
Wait. It's not, though. You could just turn it around. Look, see, this goes diagonal down this way.
Yes.
This goes this way, but if you flipped it, if you just rotated this way around, then you would have this twisted and pull it on the right, right? And then the flick it and spin it on the left, and everything would be exactly the same.
But where's the Bop It button? No,
sorry.
Spoilers!
Where's the Bop It? Is there only one on
There's
one
only
side?
one. The Bop It button is only on one side. Yeah.
So all they did was take this and flip the Bop It button to the other side.
Scoot says the Bop It is on both sides. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. That can't be true.
Why not? Have you ever seen a photo of a Bop It Extreme 2 on the other side?
Bop It Extreme 2s are only ever photographed from one side, and I've never seen one in person, so I can't be sure.
So you didn't go to like the
Toys R Us and
Toys R Us is gone.
Oh.
You would have to go to like their abandoned Toys R Us warehouse.
I'm pretty sure.
Quote.
I'm pretty sure the button's only on one side. I'm like 80% sure.
Quasi points out this Bop It precedes my timeline by 1 year. However, I've experienced this extreme.
Yes, this is Bop It Extreme 2. Anyway, keep in mind this reverse chirality, all right? Remember this. We're going to come back to it.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you mean first hints of an alternate timeline /
I'll get to that. Okay.
Okay.
The next Bop It was in 2005. It was called the Bop It Blast, and it's kind of a return to form. It harkens back to the original Bop It. It's only 3 verbs, the only 3 original verbs. So everything from that was new in the Extreme was dropped, except for the idea of a 2-handed design. right? This is a Bop It that you can hold in 2 hands and do a verb with your left or right hand, depending on which one it is. So kind of a fusion of the original Bop It and the simplicity of the 3 verbs with the 2-handed design of the Bop It Extreme.
Okay.
Right? Never seen this one. Yeah, this one didn't seem to be as popular. Maybe it lacked the extremeness of the Extreme and the Extreme 2. So this is kind of
very nice. Figure 1.
Figure 1, yes. This is a chart of the original series, the Bop It original series, Bop It Extreme, Extreme 2, and Bop It Blast, spanning from 1996 to 2005. Pretty simple. Now, for the purpose of this presentation, I'm only really going to be talking about what I consider to be the mainline or canon versions of Bop It. There were many, many spin-offs. And I'm just going to kind of devote one slide to them, and then we're going to forget about them forever because I think they're mostly not important.
Bratz Bop It?
Yeah, Bratz Bop It from 2004.
Bop It Download? What's that?
Yeah, so these are all just a bunch of different...
Could you, download a series of commands that someone else had uploaded?
Yeah, something like that. It's just kind of, weird stuff.
Bop It Tetris?
Yeah... They're all these weird Bop Its, and some of these are not even really Bop Its. Bop It Smash is... Bop It Smash is there's a light that goes back and forth, and you have to time hitting it when the light is in the middle. It's not Bop It at all, right? None of these are follow the instructions. Zing It was a yo-yo. Top It was a kendama ball cup game.
Okay.
Bop It Bounce, you had a trampoline with a handle, and then you would bounce a ball on it, you know. It's
there's also some of these are just weird sex moves.
Yeah, it's these spin-offs and sister products, they were weird.
Okay.
Hi, Austin. So we're not going to be talking about these. These are not considered part of the mainline Bop It. Also, they had different sets of verbs that were not part of the main Bop It canon. So we're...
Redhead says, I had the Groove It. Yes, the queue is open, Stephen.
So we don't need to worry about these, but I thought I should just mention them so that no one's but what about Bratz Bop It? You forgot about Bratz Bop It. I didn't forget. I don't care.
How did Bop It Tetris work?
I don't.
Oh, you don't know.
I don't
okay.
know. I don't know. These are
Bop It Maker of Mario Maker fame.
Yeah. All right. So, after the original series of Bop It, the Bop It line was rebooted in 2008, going up to 2016. So let's talk about that. So this is the rebooted version of Bop It from 2008. Very similar conceptually to the original one-handed version of Bop It, but there's a few important differences. One, it's kind of sleeker, more futuristic, rounder. It's a nice design. It looks like a Klingon warrior weapon or something. A big change with this rebooted line of Bop Its is they all have an exclamation mark in the name now, so they're Bop It exclamation mark instead of without. So that's how you can tell it's part of the rebooted line instead of the original series.
Closest, it's the portal guy.
Yeah. Oh, another thing about... Sorry, let me go back. Another reason why you can tell some of these are definitely spin-offs and not part of the main line. The Bop It Bounce and the Bop It Smash have a hyphen in their name, which is never included in the mainline Bop Its.
I see.
Mostly, or yet. Well, okay. Asterisks. But for the most part, yeah. But anyway, but it adds also a new verb. So there's 4 verbs in this one, not just Bop It, Pull It, Twist It, but also Shout It. So there was a command where you would have to yell into your toy, which is definitely
you have to push a button and yell? Because it looks like there's a button.
I think that's just where the microphone is.
Oh.
But yeah, you have to yell into your toy, which is definitely a fun thing that parents loved, I'm sure. But anyway, they rebooted Bop It, and this is what it looked like.
Kappa points out the Bop It reboot is actually what was in the suitcase in every movie with an unseen MacGuffin.
Yeah, that's plausible from Pulp Fiction. I believe it.
Okay.
Then in 2010 they rebooted the Bop It Extreme, So this is the Bop It XT. Again, it's got the exclamation mark in the middle of the name, which is how you know it's part of the rebooted line.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual successor to the Bop It 2. It has 6 verbs, increased from the Bop It Extremes 5. It also includes, in addition to Bop It, Pull It, Twist It, Flick It, Spin It, also it now has Shake It. So this is the introduction of like motion controls, which is a very like fits with, you know, the time, you know, in 2010 motion controls were like kind of the hot thing. So
like the Wii.
Yeah, right, exactly. The Wii era, yeah, exactly.
You're going off frame. Just scooch over. Okay.
And so this is a weird one. This, you could consider the Bop It Beats to be part of like the spin-off line, or not part of the main line, because it is kind of weird.
So we need this as a wheel skin, right?
Well, not
Or
just a wheel skin.
rhythm.
I kind of included this for a few reasons. One of which is it's probably the most likely to be used.
Wait, it plays levels by Avicii?
It's probably the most likely controller to be used as like a spin rhythm controller. Like if you modded it, you could probably like pull that off.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's like a DJ themed version of Bop It. It's got, you know, 4 verbs: bop it to press the button, spin it to like spin the turntable, scratch it to like go back and forth.
So we do need to get this and use it to play spin, right?
Yeah, probably.
You think you could possibly turn it into a MIDI output?
I mean, I'm sure it's possible. There must be a way. So yeah, I also included it in the main line, even though that's kind of questionable, because both Bop It and Spin It are core Bop It verbs, so it's got like a decent amount of overlap. And yeah, it plays music, it plays levels, which is like a banger song, so, you know, this all warrants its inclusion in this presentation, even though it's like questionably in Bop It canon.
I could buy a Bop It Beats like new for $99.99.
Would it be worth it?
There's one that's very good condition for $65.
Well, there you go. Now you know what to ask for Christmas.
We'll do a subathon with the goal being to be
buy
able
a
to buy a
Bop
Bop
It
It Beats.
Okay, and here's where things go off the rails.
Wait, what?
In 2016, things get crazy.
Drink it? What?
This
Comb it?
is the Bop It new moves.
Cradle it.
It has a
Golf it.
staggering 13 verbs. This was unheard of.
They've got too far. We're Smooth Whips, same brain between Cominus and Redhead. And Glow also.
Why does this exist?
Comb it, answer it, saw it, hammer it, cradle it, sing it, golf it, selfie it. So what, selfie is like holding it up, like
Yep.
selfie?
Yep.
And it just uses what, like an accelerometer to determine like where you're holding it relative to where it
Yeah,
started?
this is like motion controls. Ms. Roy!
Surprised I don't see throw it. So comb it? So like comb it? Like what do you answer it? Does it like ask you a question and have like voice detection?
I think you hold it up to your ear like a phone.
Oh, a phone. Like
Right.
people do with phones. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like hello.
Okay, hello.
And this may either be surprising to you or not, but this was the last Bop It they ever made.
This was the last Bop It?
This is the last Bop It that exists.
Oh, also thank you for the sub earlier, Fallen. I don't know if we said that. 25 months.
Yeah, how do you even one up this? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked, Kappa. Because that brings us... Well, first of all, let me summarize the Bop It original series and the reboot. This is kind of the full list of Bop It canon, ranging from
You
1996.
spelled Bop It wrong. Here and here.
Thank you.
0 marks. Fail.
Thanks for pointing that out. This is why you're here. So yeah, just a nice visual summary of kind of how the verbs have evolved over time. The Bop It cinematic universe. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's the first part. That's kind of the history of Bop It up until 2016. But we might ask ourselves, what if Bop It production and development had not stopped in 2016? What if it had continued? What might Bop It look like today? So this is just that same information again as a line graph, or this is a line graph, right? Yeah, a line graph. So you can see how the number of verbs changed through the various editions of Bop It over time, from 1996 to 2016. Does anything alarm you about this graph? Does anything alarm you about this graph?
Well, the line of best fit goes something like this, right?
Yeah, well, if it were a linear line of best fit, yes.
Okay, it doesn't look linear, it looks quadratic.
So what if we do a polynomial fit line on this? It looks something like this.
Cubic, right. Because it goes down a bit, alright. Cubic or quartic?
Yeah.
Right? Because this could be up or down in the years before Bop It existed.
Yes. Which is alarming in its own right. This trend line actually gets cut off on the graph here, so let me rescale the y-axis so we can see what we're looking at here. This line trends up to about 60 some verbs in 2023.
Okay. The year one before Bop It.
That's a lot of verbs. This is alarming verb growth.
Okay. Reiterate
it. So
I see you copy pasted some things.
Yes, I did. I copy pasted some things. So this is kind of the evolution of Bop It up to 2016, and then kind of extrapolating if there had been another edition in 2018, another one in 2020,
it.
and another in 2023. What might they look like, and using that polynomial fit line to extrapolate the number of verbs, and using ChatGPT to extrapolate what the names of the new editions of Bop It might be if they continue to follow some kind of pattern or generative sequence. We can kind of speculate on what Bop It might look like today, right? Just a guess as to what the current version of Bop It might be, right? But just again, this is a guess. This is not based on anything other than kind of speculation and extrapolation from the existing data.
So ChatGPT suggested these titles?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine though? 61 verbs in 2023. Why has this been denied to us? Why does this not exist? Why are we not living in that universe? There is no Bop It today. There is no 61 verb Bop It because Bop It development stopped suddenly in 2016.
So do you think someone went back in time and stopped the Bop It line from continuing because it led to an apocalypse?
Or did it?
Okay.
Twisted. Horrors from an alternate timeline.
Uh-huh.
Let me tell you a story, all right? Just as a thought experiment, purely hypothetical thought experiment. Let's tell a story. Okay, so imagine this. This is not real. This is all imaginary.
Hello, Gabe.
Imagine for yourself. The year is 2016. Okay? Everyone is obsessed with Pokemon Go. Disney has just released the film Moana, and I watched it 30 times. It's a great movie.
We had small children
it's also
in 2016.
It's a great movie.
It is, yes.
Steven Sausage Roll becomes the first game that I ever rage quit. Okay? This is setting the scene for you. Meanwhile, over at Hasbro, the Bop It R&D team has gone mad with power, okay? They are emboldened by the success of Bop It new moves. They just put 13 fucking verbs on a Bop It. What won't they do? But they're unsatisfied with this. They want to know how much farther they can go. What else can they accomplish? How close to the sun dare they fly?
Yes, okay.
Bop It innovation continues, unchecked and unrestrained for 7 more years and 3 more Bop It editions. and we bring ourselves to 2023, they release a new edition of the Bop It with 61 verbs.
Hi, Luce. Welcome.
But one or more of those verbs is catastrophic.
Okay.
Something they make, one of those verbs, one of those 61 verbs,
Summon it?
causes the demise of mankind.
Okay.
What is that verb?
Summon it.
Summon it, maybe. That's a good guess. Nuke it, plague it, famine it, gender reveal party it. We don't know, right? But something happens that puts humanity to the point of extinction.
Okay.
So what do we do?
Elect it, says Kevin.
Too real.
Maybe that was the price that we had to pay to end Bop It. What happened in 2016 was the cost of a time traveler traveling back and stopping Bop It from ever having created the later versions.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? You are a member of the Bop It R&D team in 2023. Humanity is facing extinction.
Not worth it.
What do you do? How do you save humanity?
Time travel it.
Time travel.
Time travel it.
You go back in time.
You have to make a new Bop It with the time travel it.
You go back in time to 2016, and you kill or replace the Bop It team to ensure that Bop It development ceases, and we avert this catastrophe.
Okay.
Right? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Is this plausible? You
Right.
believe it? It may be a little bit hard to believe, right? This might be a difficult theory to accept. Maybe it sounds like I'm kind of just making this up or pulling it out of my ass, but it's really one of the only things that can explain the sudden halting of development in 2016. Like, why would they stop when they were being so successful? When they had just put 13 verbs on a Bop It, why would they just stop? Right? This is really the only thing that explains it.
Time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And besides, it's happened before. Remember the unexplained chirality change from the Bop It Extreme to the Bop It Extreme 2 in 2022?
2002.
In 2002? You think they just changed the chirality for no reason out of nowhere? Not the first time that time travel was used to save the universe. Bop It developers in 2016, with the clockwise chirality, also must have experienced some kind of humanity-ending event and went back in time to kill or replace the team who were working on the Bop It Extreme 2, and brought with them kind of their vision of Bop It from an alternate timeline, a parallel timeline, where the chirality is different, which explains that, otherwise unexplained change in chirality from the Bop It Extreme to the Bop It
Or
Extreme
the
2.
button was on both sides and there was no chirality change at all.
I don't buy it. I don't buy your theory. So that brings us to where we are today, in a time post-Bop It of peace, relatively, or at least a time when Bop It itself is not the thing destroying the universe. So there's one big unanswered question here. What was or will be that catastrophic verb? We had some guesses earlier, but those were...
summon it, because you said it was the rise of Bop It Ekthoktoth, right? Null it, unmake it.
Yeah, these are good guesses, but I'm going to stress again that all of these things, including the ones that I listed, are all just pure speculation and pure guesswork. None of it is data-driven. None of it is based on hard, factual data.
Paradox it.
So let's get factual. Here is the list of all the verbs in the Bop It main canon.
Bop it, twist it, pull it, flick it, spin it, shout it, shake it, scratch it, flip it, whip it, drink it, selfie it, comb it, answer it, saw it, hammer it, cradle it, sing it, golf it.
And if you look at this list and you try to think, okay, well, what's missing here? What's like the missing piece of all these verbs? Where are the holes? It's very hard to figure that out just from looking at these on the list. But if we represent all of these visually, graphically, it may become more obvious where the missing verbs are, right? So I plotted these visually according to the most intuitive way that I could, which is to plot on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of these verbs how sexual they sound, and on a scale of 1 to 10 how ominous they sound, and lay it out as a scatter plot.
Okay.
And when we do that, some things become obvious, right? We can now see where the holes are. We can see where the verbs are missing. We can see where there might be Bop It verbs added to this space. So like we can see kind of at the top middle there.
Quasi asks, why is Golf It so far left? You don't think that you think Golf It sounds ominous? Is Golf It very ominous?
I think Golf It is extremely non-ominous. But yeah, there's kind of this hole up in the middle, so we might think that there's maybe some verb that's like kind of pretty ominous and very sexual. Or maybe down here at the bottom, there could be something that's like
not sexual,
but quite ominous.
But not extremely ominous, like Answer It.
But in like the top right corner, there's also a missing hole, something that's both very sexual and very ominous. Right? So we can kind of start guessing at where some of these verbs might go.
Okay.
And we can speculate what these might be based on their position. So like for that top left one, we're looking for something that's quite sexual and somewhat ominous. So like, for example, taste it, maybe? Seems like it kind of fits in that general region. All right. And then we're looking for something down at the bottom there. That's like not at all sexual, but like pretty ominous.
Okay.
So I said like welcome it. That's like ominous, right? But like not very sexual.
Okay.
And then up in the top right, we're looking for something that's both very sexual and very ominous. So like maybe like surrender to it. It's like both ominous and sexual, I feel like.
Cradle It was a canonical one. It legit.
Yeah, Cradle It is it's
legit.
It's like a 3 for sexual and like a 9 for ominous. Right, so we might speculate that like maybe this is the combination of verbs that brings about the end of the universe, right? Okay. Or brings about the destruction of mankind.
Restrain it.
Anyway, this is all just a guess. I think it's well informed by the data, but you know, there's still a lot of stuff that we don't know. We're just kind of guessing. I think these are well-informed theories, but you know, at the end of the day, this is all extrapolation. It's all guesswork. And I think, you know, that I've done a good job of kind of looking at the history of Bop It and kind of figuring out where it came from and where it might be going. And I hope you all enjoyed this presentation a lot. I did a lot of research, and I want to pass that on to you. And I hope that you all can take this knowledge and it enriches your lives. So thank you for coming to my
He's fucking dying.
Thank you so much for the sound. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Are there any questions?